does the structure of that webinar look like for you? Like from an introduction, content, close kind of perspective. Can you kind of give us a broad strokes view of kind of how you set that up?
Sure. And have you ever watched? You guys like Star Wars? Big Star
Sure.
Wars fans? Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, The Force Awakens. I actually, some people don't like it. I love it, right? And the reason is because it just has this story arc, just like the old films, and I just love the pacing, and I look at that and I say that's the perfect webinar. The Star Wars actually the first one, not I'm going to get in trouble here. Um, Not the Phantom Menace, but the first year.
A New Hope.
A New Hope. There we go. A New Hope is how you should structure your webinar, right? So at the very beginning, you describe your audience, right? You give them this like you're the hero, right? Either you are or they are, or all of you are the hero that's facing this foe. You plan out the foe. Here's the Darth Vader of our business, of our industry, of our life, whatever you're selling, and we're going to go on this path together to figure out how to solve it. So I'll start this story of the person or persons involved, whether it's me, them, and then I'll introduce the sage. If you look at the hero's journey, there's this whole like arc. The sage is what I learned from a mentor, what I learned from a book, or what I learned from a consultant that I hired, or the insight, right? That's where the sage information comes in. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so you introduce that new knowledge, and then you give them the call to action, which is now's your chance to make a change in your business, and I'm going to show you how. And then you go through the whole journey, the rest of the journey of how to solve the problem, and here's what you can do. And then really the climax, which is the sales part, it's tying it all together. And what I like to do at this point is if I start the webinar with a story or a hook, at the right before the close, I'll close that loop, and I like to tell the story of a flashlight. You go in a dark room, right? You have a flashlight, and you don't know where anything is in the room, and someone's telling you to go do something, and when you're looking around, you just have your sense of touch. If someone hands you a flashlight, that's awesome. So you can start seeing where things are, and I'll introduce that story, and then I'll say, we're going to come back to that after we go into some of the content here. Right before the close, I'll come back, and you guys can't steal this, or I'll be no, I'm just kidding. I'll come in and say, now imagine someone came in and just flipped the light switch on and showed you everything in the room, all the pieces, how it works. Now, that's something we decided a lot of you would be interested in, so that's why we built XYZ product, or that's why I have XYZ service. It actually flips on the switch, shows you all the pieces, you can pick and choose what you want to learn, and then that's the pitch, that's it. And I like to disqualify people. I say, here's the people that shouldn't buy, here's the people that should buy. In the Q&A, we're going to dive into, we'll answer questions about the product and service, but I also want to talk about the content. And that's the whole pitch, that's it. There's all kinds of stuff you can do in that, but if you do the introduction and the content well, it'll sell itself. Right. Another thing I like to do at the very beginning is say, listen, your time's very valuable, but guess what? My time's super valuable too. So I want to reward you and reward myself at the very start of this webinar. I want you to take notes, and if you do, and you take a picture of them, tweet it at me, put it on Facebook, I'll send you any book on Amazon you want. And I do that on every single webinar, and I found that it increases engagement whether they send me the notes or not. I find like 90% retention through the course of the webinar. And the reward for me is I get to see their notes, what their takeaways were, and questions they had, because I tell them to write down their questions. So those are a few things I do. That's the arc I put in my webinars. They don't have to be that crazy, but that's the basic construct of a webinar that I found. And I generally do about 20% live on anywhere from 300 to 1,000. You go down to about 5% once you go to 1,000 to 2,000 just because qualifications. But it just works every time.